Hey guys, thanks for joining us again, and today we're going to talk about what happened in the last couple of days, and Boushh.
Boshh. The mighty Boshh. I like that, by the way, in the email.
Thank you.
The mighty Boshh.
Thank you.
It'll have been lost on quite a few people that won't it?
Probably, yeah. I was thinking about putting something in the photo with the time traveller or something. Anyway, the Boushh helmet. So it definitely feels like a couple of days ago when we sent the first email about it, just to kind of test things and make sure everyone was getting the email. Definitely felt like I was holding a thermal detonator, and then skip forward to the actual launch of this helmet, and it felt like I had detonated that thermal detonator because things just went crazy. It definitely blew up in my face, I think. So let's talk a little bit about the Boushh helmet. There was an awful lot of questions. We saw the social media and we saw the groups and the comments and stuff, so let's deal with some of them issues and try and make it a bit clearer what's going on and why the Boushh helmet project is what it is, and I don't know, hopefully people will understand a little bit more where we were coming from. Whether they agree with it or not is another question, but at least they'll know what was going on in my head.
Everyone's going to have an opinion on how it should have been done, regardless of how we did it.
Well, I'm open to opinion now. You know me. On the one hand, complete control freak. On the other hand, open to opinion. And that's why it works so well. That's what I tell myself. So no, I do. Let's start with the launch.
Okay.
The website. I'm going to say next time we need a bit more planning. And I know planning is one of your favourite things. I know it's one of my one of the things on my wish list, but we never seem to have time for one reason or another. But there's got to be a better way than just dropping it on the website, because clearly the website couldn't handle it.
Yeah, I think the lack of planning with this was more to do with how it should have just worked. It should have just worked, you know.
Do you know what? I almost thought we should have live streamed the actual dropping of it. And then I was thinking, that would be crazy because no one would be watching it because they'd be trying to get on it and they'll be refreshing, just like I was. So basically what happened was 8 o'clock it was supposed to drop. I sent an email. This was the first thing. Sent an email out and I sent it a bit earlier so it had a link so that everyone was prepared and had a bit of a story, you know, a bit more information, because I think from the initial coming in, Paul. Oh, a beverage refreshment.
The Veragino.
Hey boys.
Thanks, babe.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, sweet pea.
It's alright, show it is.
Look at that. Hopefully there's no sugar in this now. I'm off sugar. It's a few minutes to 8. I've got everything prepped as it's going to be.
Well, also, talk about planning. We had gone through a list. You said to me, can you look at these things? And you sent them to me and we tested.
Yeah.
It did work.
Oh yeah, everything.
We didn't just do it blind. We did test the link. We tested the email.
Everything was set up, and I was looking at my watch. And I was like, right, 20 minutes. So I sent an email. I sent it out with enough time for people to actually read it, rather than just frantically click on the button and rush to the thing. Got a message almost straight away. Email. I've been on the site and it says sold out.
Yeah.
No. It's not sold out. It doesn't launch till 8 o'clock. Well, why are you sending it then? That was a response I got.
I did get a few emails, a few inboxes on Instagram saying, "Have I missed it? It says sold out."
So anyway, so we changed that a bit, but I'm waiting and I'm thinking I'm ready to go. I had 15 minutes to go, and I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, I can't do it now. I need to wait. We said 8 o'clock. Need to wait. It's not fair. Need to wait. So I'm waiting, and it was like 2 minutes to, and I was like, right, let's get ready. And I went to click the button, right, and the button's greyed out. And I was like, what? And then I looked somewhere, and I don't know where, and I've never noticed it before, but it said connection lost. Oh, that's weird. And I thought, hey, maybe it's timed out because I've been sat here not using the screen. Went to refresh it, error.
Yeah.
And that was it. I kept refreshing it, and then it would go. then it would. I would go. I went through everything. I'm trying to click through all the back end of the website to get to the page. And every time I click on to go to a page, error. And then I refresh. Then it came up, and I'd finally gone to that page. Then I'd click on that, and then error. And I was kept doing it. We were cycling through this, and and I'm thinking, it was like 8 minutes past or something, and I still not managed to get it live. And it's because of the sheer volume of traffic on the site. And it's like, everybody must be refreshing, and I can't even. I'm doing the same as them, trying to refresh it so that I can make it live. So anyway, I finally clicked the button to make it live. It's not even live on my screen. It's still showing me that it's updating. And then I saw on my phone some orders coming through, so it's like, right, it's obviously live now, even though I can't see it live. And that was it. I'm like, okay, that was the most stressful thing I've done in I don't know how long. So also, somebody did comment, or you sent an email and then you're dropping it the day after. I didn't realise. I kind of messed up because I thought it was Thursday. I don't know why I put Wednesday. It should have been Thursday. So there should have been another day's grace, and it messed my Wednesday night club up. So I didn't.
You could have got away with it without admitting that mistake.
I didn't go out with the boys because I was sorting all this out. So anyway, it all dropped. All seemed to be working. I'm like, okay, it's out of my hands now. I got in the shower, got out the shower because I thought I might not have been out for something to eat, but I need a drink. And I've been pretty good. I've been off the beer for a few days.
Just because you're giving up sugar?
No, it's since London really, and the Americans, they were setting a much better example, not drinking beer and looking nice and thin. So, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to knock it on the head for a bit. But after last night, I had to have a beer. So anyway, that was the launch. And my takeaway from it is there's got to be a better way. When we did the Y-Wing, I'm sure we did a mail shot. Admittedly, it was about 4 or 5 years ago. The mail list was a lot smaller. And we were getting replies saying, yeah, we want to do it. And I was thinking 25. It's going to be a run of 25. And we stopped it at 100. Because we were like, right, we've never done an edition size above 100. This is where we need to cap it. But when we're doing a launch like this in future, I definitely want to take a different approach.
Yeah.
But then having said that, I think a lot of guys enjoy getting stuck in, and because it is exciting.
Well, it is exciting. The element of the way the website was last night wasn't. I mean,
No.
if you could take that out of it, the excitement of am I going to get it, am I not? That's the exciting part of it. Is I've had it in the past buying trainers. That is the excitement. And if you lose out, you're gutted, and if you win them, you're excited. I do like the chase. However, the stress, like I think somebody pointed out, I think we know that they were gone within 30 minutes, and there's a couple of comments of people saying they were gone within 10, they were gone within 5.
I got out the shower and it was gone.
Yeah, so we know it would have gone much quicker.
Which I wasn't expecting, to be fair. I didn't expect the site to crash.
Well, nobody did.
Especially with the comments from when we were holding the thermal detonator and we sent that email. So, yeah, there needs to be a better way. I don't know what that better way is going to look like at this point. But before we release another helmet or anything that's new to the community and it's going to be new on our website, we're going to look at that. So if anybody has got any comments or suggestions or knows a better way, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah, something.
I mean, the answer may be a new website that's got more power, but it's stressful. Either way, it's stressful sitting there trying to click the button and.
Well,
I must next time I need to just schedule it or something.
It's stressful for us because we would have thought as admins you just have access to it, and
yeah,
but
I didn't realise the traffic was going to keep me out as well.
And me and the web guy as well. I had him on the phone at 8 o'clock screaming down the phone at him, and he was good as gold, to be fair. But
I mean, to be fair, I don't think our website gets the sort of volume it got then. That was a big spike, and there's probably an algorithm that says you need this much. Again, planning. We'll plan it better next time.
Well, there's a couple of favourite comments from when I was trolling the socials this morning. One I mentioned to you earlier, which was someone just put, "I survived the RS Boushh helmet order 2023."
Yeah, so did I.
The other,
just about.
The other one, which I couldn't agree with more, was somebody said this website shouldn't be crashing in 2023.
Yeah.
And all of these people that
Well, it was new to me.
Yeah, we did. It wasn't even on the cards that it wasn't. After the negativity that we've had the last few days about the price, which I know we're going to talk about, I think our biggest concern is that people were going to go,
yeah,
it's not for me.
Price talk coming up.
But it was never even on the cards that we were going to have, that the website was going to crash.
So, well, spoke to Andrew last night and I said, there is a better way to do this. So we're going to find that. So all the technical issues you had on the website, I do apologise. We were as surprised as you. Yeah, all made for a pretty stressful time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, just my stress was added to by when obviously now I've learned that you went for a shower, but
after.
In the midst of Rob and I talking backwards and forwards for 15 minutes straight, trying to get things sorted, he just disappeared. And then obviously I was still sat there stressing.
I was stressed.
And then I found, I've learnt in this conversation he took himself off for a soapy shower.
I was so stressed. Right, so seriously now, cost, price. Yeah. It's an expensive helmet.
It is.
By any standards, and certainly by our standards. If you compare it to the Boba Fett and the Y-Wing, it's not really fair to do that because they were 4 or 5 years ago that those prices were set, and so much has changed now with the cost of everything, absolutely everything. I'm pretty sure that we inbuilt a price for shipping as well, which had like quadrupled, if not more, since we did it. So, yeah, it's not fair really to compare those prices. There is a reason for the pricing. We'll get to that in a second. So, does this set a precedent, and our RS helmet's going to be more expensive moving forward? No, that's not what this is about. This helmet is a very technical helmet. There's a lot of processes. We were just talking about this, weren't we? And you were saying, "Oh well, it's a difficult helmet to build," and I'm already past that, because if you take any helmet, you break it down into all the smaller tasks, if you like, that need doing. So I've already kind of moved past that. But when I think about it, yes, there are a lot more process involved, and there are a lot more raw materials, all bits and pieces. Now, does that make for a more expensive helmet? Yes, in some ways. Is that how we've got to the price? No. Because previous runs, we've always worked on, okay, our day-to-day is building stormtroopers and scout troopers and TIEs, the full costumes, and they usually are the priority one. Then there'll be helmets coming in behind that, so stormtroopers and that kind of stuff, and then behind that there'll be special projects that take more time, because the way it's worked previously, rightly or wrongly, is there's no reason other than man hours and the way that the team's workflow is going through the shop. You're not going to wait 3-4 months for a stormtrooper helmet, because it doesn't take that long to make. That work always comes first, and then we drop onto Y-Wing projects, Boba Fett's. So if there's some painting that needs doing for commissions, that tends to be the first part of the week, and then any extra time at the end of the week. If you're super busy, you might not get much time, So the Y-Wing and the Boba Fett's were kind of priced and They were built into the workflow to be the extra work. You know, the other commission stuff keeps the cash flow, pays for all the overheads, you know, all that kind of stuff, and then we work on the special projects, and it takes time. Now, that's the way it was. That's the way we used to work. And the negative to that was it was taking a long time to get the Y-wing helmets, for example, completed. A long time to get the FET helmets completed. And we were feeling that with the emails and with the comments. I mean, people are very patient, which is great, but gives us maybe a false sense of security where we lean on that too much. And I don't want to do that moving forward. I want us to tackle a project. The project needs to pay for itself. It needs to cover its overheads, and that allows us then to work on that project as importantly as anything else.
So let me ask you a question to be devil's advocate. Something that came up on the socials. Someone just said, "Well, they need to make the team bigger." Besides the logistics of you can't just put someone into this job to pick it up overnight. Certainly, like with what Becca does, it's a talent and a huge amount of time goes into the learning of it. But what's the logistics of why can't you just have a bigger team? What's the impact there?
Well, it's still a house of cards, isn't it? If there's more people, then you need more. You've got more overhead, so it comes down to a lot of ugly business stuff, which I don't really try and think about, and that's one of the reasons why we got into that situation where this was just ushered in the back. So this is breaking new ground for us. We've not done it like this before, and that's reflected in the price. But we know we've got goals and deadlines, and we know where we need to be each step of the way as we move through the next 6 months, and we want to get this done. We don't want to be on this project for a long time. I mean, the FET helmets is a bad example. It's been a long time, but we had the fire and we lost a lot of helmets that were finished, and we've had to go back and redo them all, which we have done, you know. We can't figure that into a cost because that was just how the ship went down. But I don't want this to turn into a big project that lasts a long time, and that is reflected in the price. It's all about having whoever we need there when we need them. And we're not going to need. We're going to build these, so we're not going to build a few, drop off it. We're going to get them all built. We're going to get all the bits and pieces done, and then we can, as those people in the team are not needed, then they will be able to go on and do other orders. Does that mean that current orders are going to now be on a back burner? No, they're going to be finished as a priority, while the rest of this project is all queued up and we're ready to go.
From my point of view, what we're going to be showing more of, it's more frequent updates on specific project, isn't it? Because like sometimes we'll come in and there won't be anything to update on project A, so we'll be talking about project B and then project C in the background, whereas because this is going to be...
And also when we were on the Y-wings, it was difficult to talk about anything when that was hanging over us, and you knew that people would be like, that's fantastic what you're doing, love it, but what about our Y-wings? You know, and I don't want that. I want to be much more open with what we're doing, when we're doing it, how we're doing it. Not open like we can't talk about it. I want to be just, this is what we're doing. That's how it's going down. So this is a new way of working, and I think it's going to be a much better way. I think it's going to be better for everyone involved, us, and everybody out there, so that we can share stuff in real time and much more frequently. Now there was one comment which I would like to mention, which was people were talking about, oh, well, we've seen Y-wing helmets selling in the aftermarket and they cost this, they're selling for this much. Now, has that had an impact on the pricing of this? Not really, because this is priced as we've said, to cover the costs and to have the team of, our team of prop builders ready to jump on this as a priority. But how that does impact on this is the impact it has on the team, thinking, this is not me, this is other members of the team thinking, well, people are valuing my work higher than Rob and Simon are valuing our work. So I get that, and I suppose, if there's any reflection on or impact from that, it's more coming from our team, because they're thinking, well, maybe my wages should be a bit higher because I'm doing this job, and then other people are benefiting from it, and I can't argue with that. They do need more, higher wages, and issues around that have been resolved recently, and again, that feeds into the price. It's the way it is.
There's the catch-22 again, isn't it? Going back to what you were saying before about overheads and price.
Yeah.
If you put that up to pay more, story of the world right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, everyone, So
Yeah, and you've got to get the right people that fit with the team.
Well, you've always said that, haven't you? It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, it's certainly from my point of view, working with you guys, it was very organic from a customer to here now.
it is with everybody.
Yeah,
who
and
joins.
that's, the more you see it, the more you learn about it. And even to the people who, you class as friends of RS, like Look at Cat Food, Rob, it's all organic in the way that happens. It's not just like bang an advert in the job centre and someone turns up and goes, oh, I can paint your helmets for you.
Yeah, so that's the costing. Yes, it's an expensive helmet, but I mean, I just paid an awful lot of money for that maquette thing, and I didn't blink an eye at it because it was beautiful and I wanted it. So,
But that's where the value is.
Again, it's where collections are. We've got a podcast coming up on that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Very soon. But it's, as Matt says, it is what it is.
But it's, well, yeah, I've heard that saying a lot recently. It's really weird. The thing is, it isn't for everybody, and that's, I think some people would get something just because it's cheap enough to get. That doesn't mean it's right for their collection.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very special, from the start, from going back way back when to picking this up to now, I saw the development. I even said to you, I've got more and more excited about it as a piece as I've seen what goes into it.
This has been in development for a long time, and the reason for that is it needs to be right. It's a very special helmet. It's special to us, and I truly believe that this will be one of the helmets that we are remembered for, and one of the helmets that's, when nobody talks about us or about anything we've ever done, this will be the one that comes up. I think this is always going to be something special. It's from day one. It's from the era of the original trilogy, where they were really pushing the boundaries of what they could do with the design and the materials they were using.
Well, I was about to say, the complexity of the actual helmet makes it what it is, for the fact that there's very few that are more complicated.
It's
than
a hero helmet. They didn't need to make many. I'm not sure how many they made. I think it may have been just one. So you can spend time and effort, and you can really push the boat out on it because there's only one helmet. I hope that came across okay, and it kind of gets the message over about where we're at with that. It's not cheap. It's never going to be a cheap helmet. Right, okay, and then the last thing, which is probably the most interesting, really, about what we're going to talk about today. We put this out, and there was no finished helmet. There was no images. There was no announcement of who's signing it. We don't know what the stand is going to be. So there's a chunk of information missing from this, and yet we've still put it out. So I know a lot of people wanted to know all this information. I saw the comments of that, and I get that. Was it rush released? Yes and no. I think not particularly rushed, because as we know, we've been working on it for a long time. But we took it to Celebration because we wanted to take something to show, and this was the most finished thing that we're working on developing. And after that, Andrew was getting a lot of emails, and she's like,
It's huge, wasn't it?
and she's saying, what do I tell these people? People want to do this, people want to do that. Am I making a list? Am I not making a list? What? I don't like lists. I would much rather, and comes back to the launch, I'd much rather find a better way of doing it so that we can try and include as many people and make this accessible. I did hear people talking about, well, years ago this would have been going on, but you would have had to know the right people, and I get that. I remember those days. We never wanted to be that place. We always wanted to make it accessible. So Andrea was saying, what am I telling these people? I'm like, well, I don't want to make a list, like a secret list or get everything ready. I'd rather let's put it out there. And last night, one of the things I was thinking while I was in the shower, just one of the things I was thinking, not all of the things, but I was thinking, that's like, right, the qualifying's done now, and now the race can start. We know who's in the race. Now we can start the race. We needed to do something. We decided to put it out. Did we know it wasn't finished and that we hadn't announced all these things? Yes. Did that stop us? No. Why? I think one of the main reasons was we could have just laid it all out. We could have announced who was signing it in the email at Celebration weeks ago. But we've not done because I think it's a bit more special than that. And if knowing those things, you don't know us and RS, and you don't follow us, and you're not regular on the runs and stuff, and you just want this helmet, maybe because you saw what the Y-Wing did and you think you can buy it and sell it on in a few months or years or whatever, well, that's fine. Everybody's open to do that, but I would much rather have the people, our core followers that are collecting, that see this and think, that's going in my collection, I see where that fits. And I think for those people, it matters less who's signing it, because they know it's going to be good, what the stand looks like, because they know it's going to look right, and how the finished helmet is, because they know there's not going to be anything that they can fault on it. So it was a leap of faith, and I think any of those people that took it and backed us, and the helmet sold out, so there's enough people there to do that. The fact that they backed us without all of that information, I think, was it intentional? I didn't sit down and think, we'll do this. But on the other hand, I did sit down and think, well, we've not released all this information. Is that going to be a problem? And I thought, it's a leap of faith. Let's see who backs us. Let's see who knows enough about us to want to back us.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was kind of not intentionally left out. Well, the signee was. But I think we're going to talk about that next week, and I think that'll be more exciting to put it out there because it's very special. It's a completely different situation and scenario than any of the other signees. He's not UK based. We've not gone out there to meet him. So it's different than everything we do, or everything we've done to this point. But it's right for this helmet. And that was the bottom line. This was the only person. If this person wasn't involved, then it wouldn't be a signature edition. It would just be a limited edition. But there were some great people that helped us out. 3 very special people. I don't know if they want name dropping. I won't do it today, but in the future we may talk about who helped in securing this. Yeah.
That's, sorry to interrupt with that, but that again, the people that you've got involved with that, it's the elements of, like you always talk about how the community make things possible. Those relationships have been born from through the community, through RS, through people believing in previous products and stuff, haven't they?
And it's worth mentioning because this whole thing is all down to the community. It's all the guys out there that took that leap of faith on Wednesday, that back this, that make this happen. So thank you to all of you guys, because this is a go now. Being part of the community is the best feeling. So thank you to all of you guys.
Well, we saw that from my personal experience, celebration when everyone got together in the Fox, and seeing when we got out the box and seeing people's reactions and seeing the reactions to people knowing it was unfinished and that it was only, you know, part of the way to being as good as it's going to be. That elements of that community and seeing those guys react like that, and then all the messages and everything since that I know you've got, that Andrew's got, that I've got through the socials. It is purely based on community, and as someone who, I think we talk about it a lot, or Rob talks about it a lot, and I think maybe sometimes it loses a bit of its sincerity, but it's something that the studio generally believes in, is what the community allows RS to do, and this, like you're saying, is a prime example of that.
It's a little beauty in it. The paint's not going to change. The colours, everything about that is correct. What the paint is based on top of, the primer and stuff, that's the area that's going to change. And then aside from that, there's a couple of tubes on it and the rangefinder. But the rangefinders, I didn't want to rush that. And I didn't want to just put a placeholder there. I suppose we could have done, but I wouldn't. But we couldn't have photographed it anyway. I wouldn't have done it because it wouldn't have been right. But it's the rangefinders in the final stage of development now. And if we'd have pulled our finger out, if we'd have said we're not making all this stuff for these clients, we're going to do the rangefinder, we could have done it, and we could have finished the helmet, we could have photographed it. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get as much stuff done as we could to get that shipped, and you know, to keep on track with the production goals that we had. So it didn't happen, but again, in the back of my mind, there's always that, you know, if that's going to be a deal breaker, this helmet's probably not for you. And I think that was proven when we released it. So I had faith in these guys, and they've obviously got faith in us.
Yeah, definitely.
So it is appreciated. I can't understate that. We should say it more. I know if you don't say it in every video, people don't think you're saying it because they don't watch every video, but we do appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I think that covers most of the issues and the trauma that's been going on since the beginning of the week. One thing that's not been covered is the emails. A lot of people said they didn't get the first email, and that's down again, technical issues, and I'm pretty sure at some point we had data protection laws changed in this country. I don't know if that was worldwide, but I know they changed here, and you couldn't put people into a mailing list anymore. They have to do it
Basically have to track
themselves.
the mailing list, didn't
And
they?
yeah, and all the stuff that you had before, unless you got re-permission for it. I think people who were quite organised, big companies and stuff, that really rely on that, were sending out emails, and then you had to do something, and it all had to be done by a certain date. Needless to say, we didn't do that because of planning. So I know that we did lose some emails in that, whether or not that was what the problem was, or if it was spam and trash and all of that stuff. If it's because you usually get an email from info and you're getting one from studio and it doesn't like that, don't know. But we did the best that we could, and that's why we tried to get as much information out there, and it was in the groups and that. But I know there's still going to be people who are going to say, I don't follow this and I don't follow that, I didn't know about it, have you got any left, or blah blah blah. And it's tricky. It comes down to that old proverb, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. That's where we're at with the Boushh helmet. We're out of the blocks, and there's going to be a lot coming on this. There's a lot for us to share. And that was another thing. We could have finished all this and then we wouldn't have probably shared it because we wouldn't have filmed it. But now it's making it more important.
Yeah.
The other slight thing is, because we're doing this project and the way we're doing this project, it's going to give us time to finish off some of the jobs that have been dragging on for a while, which this will allow for that. But what it will also allow for, when we've got them out of the way, It's going to allow for us to do a lot of development work on all the other stuff that we want to do, that we've teased about. Remember the beginning of, not this year, last year,
Yeah.
and we talked about, oh, we've got this, the Rebel Donut and the A-Wing and the B-Wing and the Snow Commander, and I don't know if we talked about some of them actually. So, Beers, ATA.
Yeah.
There's loads of helmets there that we need to develop, and because we're that busy with commission work, and then you've got the filler work. We just never get into that point. This new, fresh approach, hopefully, is going to allow us to do that and allow us to restructure how the team works and how we can develop new and exciting helmets. We've got plenty of stuff there. Let's get them developed.
Yeah.
That's another reason why we can't do too many of these, because we've got other stuff.
There's a Cylon as well kicking about.
There is one message about that the other day.
I know, that's why it's in my head.
And I was thinking about it the day before that message came in. I was thinking, I'd love to do that Cylon. I was thinking just like that. I'd love to do that Cylon. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. It's been very boring. It's just been two old blokes chatting away. But I hope a lot of this makes sense and explains where we're coming from. And we may or may not have changed your opinion. You may have already kind of appreciated where we were coming from. It's a mixed bag out there, but I just wanted to get out our side of it and where we're coming from, and hopefully it makes sense, and we can forget about the website crashing and all the nightmares that we had. We can get on with this beautiful helmet. I think you should do a bit of a B-roll or something on it for the end of the video, because all these people have waited until now to, even though it's not finished, we've got something. We've got leather, we've got it slipping off the stand. What we need is a stand where this sits on it just perfect.
Yeah, that'd be a nice idea.